I filmed this intro like 3 times. But hi, welcome back, or welcome to my channel. But today I'm going to be giving you guys tips on ways I get out of a reading slump and like the steps I take when I realize I'm in one. I get in a reading slump like once a month because sometimes even when I read really good books, it's like I feel like I won't easily find something as good as the book I previously read, so then it's hard for me to start a new book. Or like sometimes when I read certain books, if it start off really slow, it'll just make me not want to read altogether. So I'm gonna be giving y'all ways on how I get off of a reading slump. So the first way, oh my god, please ignore my little bow. My hair is not cooperating today. But the first way I get out of a reading slump is by reading different genres, because I am a romance type girl. I read a lot of romance. I read a lot of like fantasy books. So sometimes when I get in a reading slump, I would think like, oh well, maybe I'll read like a graphic novel. I mean, it could still like include romance in it, but like a different type of format of the book could help, because like I read a lot of ebooks now because I used to read a lot of paperback books, but I read more on my little Sora app. So sometimes I just decide that I will read a paper book or a hardcover book or whatever, or listen to an audiobook, and that'll help me like get out of a reading slump, because it feels like I'm reading in a different way, especially with audiobooks. I did that one time when I got in a reading slump, and it helped me get out, because it's like you're reading but you're like listening, so it's like a movie or something. When I mentioned this first tip, I was talking about reading a different genre though. So like if you're into like just romance books, strictly romance, I say you should like venture into something else. Like maybe try a romance book but with fantasy in it, or a romance book but with like mystery in it, like A Good Girl's Got a Murder or something. My second tip on a ways to get out of a reading slump is to take a break from reading. That's a big one for me, because I had this goal at the beginning of the year to read 90 books. So I felt obligated to read sometime, more so than like it being a hobby. So I would take like a break as long as necessary of me not reading, so I could get back on track of reading. And I don't let it get over like a week, but if you have to take more than a week because like you're busy, of course you should do that. That's another way I get out of a reading slump, by like giving myself time to actually want to read again. Another thing I noticed with reading is, with me, since I read on my tablet a lot, like books off of there, I get distracted with like my phone being around me. So I usually, when I read or when I get in a reading slump, I find it like very good for me to like put my phone in a different room or on the charger while I'm like in the living room, because then I'm like less distracted. Even though my tablet still has like apps on there, I'm less likely to go on there when my phone's not around, because I'm not getting notifications and stuff. But especially if you read just physical books, it'll be a lot better if you put your phone somewhere else so you could get less distracted, or putting it on like do not disturb or something. And I feel like that's a good way to like optimize your reading experience and the time and your focus spent on the book. Another tip, the third tip I'm going to be talking about is, I feel like a big thing about readers getting in reading slump is not the fact that they don't want to read, but the fact that they feel like they don't have time to read. So a way to combat this, I feel like if it's getting up early, like for me, when I had started school last year actually, I used to have to wake up at 5 a.m. to like get time in to read and do like my extra hobbies and stuff, because I was realizing at first I had no time to read and no time to like do stuff what enjoyed me after school, because I was so tired, and during school obviously I couldn't, even though I'm homeschooled. But yeah, taking time out of your day, like even if it's like taking an hour to read at noon and then taking an hour at night, that will obviously make you read a lot more and make you feel like you're making more progress, especially when you're trying to get into a book. Another good tip I see people on here talking about a lot is rereading a favorite book. Me personally, I don't really do this, but I have wanted to like reread the Crow Prince series, because love that series, but I don't really remember it. I read it sometime last year. I read a lot of books since then, so I was thinking about rereading it because I was in a reading slump and I wanted to annotate the book. But yeah, I wanted to annotate the Cruel Prince series, and I feel like that's a good way to get out of a reading slump because it makes you feel like the emotions you felt when reading it, and it makes you want to feel it with another book. And that's another tip, actually. I recommend you guys searching up books similar to your favorite books and then actually reading the books where I recommended, because that's what I did with Legendborn. I had searched up books similar to Legendborn, and I had found this book called Blood Like Magic, and they were similar and they were both really good, and Blood Like Magic had actually got me out of a reading slump because I did that. So that's another tip I really recommend. Another good way to get out of a reading slump is to start a whole new series, because that's what I did with the Shatter Me books. I had started the Shatter Me books sometime the beginning of the year. And I started it and I knew it was like 11 books, including the novellas and whatever. And I read all of them, and they helped me like stay interested in the series and actually read more and get out of a reading slump what I was previously in. So I feel like that's another good tip. But I'm gonna go back to the first tip I think I was telling you guys. I really cannot stress this enough. A great way to get out of a reading slump is by reading a graphic novel, you guys. Like, that's the way. I had just got out of a reading slump like 2 days ago, and I had ended up reading 2 graphic novels in one night, because I was like not feeling reading, but then I read one and I was like, oh, I want to read more. Okay, you guys, I think that's really all the tips I have today, but I mean, there's a lot of ways to get out of reading slumps, and I feel like it's very complex. That's just some of the ways I used to get out of reading slumps. But then really, it's all about just balancing your time. Like, I'm sure you can set an hour, like, before you go to bed to read instead of scrolling on your phone, or an hour before you, like, really wake up and do, like, your daily routine to read if you can, and if you really try to incorporate it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll use these tips when y'all get stuck in a reading slump, because stress, it happens to all of us. And I really appreciate you all for watching this video, and I really hope y'all like and subscribe. Oh my god, my words keep mixing. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I wish you all the best day, and I hope you all just enjoyed the video, really. Bye!